Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Linux security lessons. In this lesson, we are going to cover a really important topic, which is auditing the file system. Auditing helps us track what is happening on our system. Who accessed what file and when? Did they modify the file? Did they try something they shouldn't? This kind of information is critical, especially after a security incident. In security, we often think in two modes. Proactive, where we try to block attacks before they happen, and reactive, where we respond to something after it's already happened. To respond effectively, we need logs, we need proof. Let us say one day you come into work and your company homepage has been defaced. Someone has hacked your site. How do you find out what was changed, when it was changed, and who did it? Without auditing, you are just guessing. But with auditing in place, you can track file access and know exactly what happened. Now let's start our practical lesson. To audit files, we need a service called Auditd. It runs in the background and tracks file activity. By default, this audit service is installed on different Linux distributions. To verify that, execute sudo systemctl status then auditd. As you can see, Auditd service already installed, running, and enabled on my system. Now let's jump into the configuration directory. But first, let me switch from vagrant user to root user using sudo -s command. Now let's go to etc audit directory and let's execute ls. Inside here you will see a file called auditd. This file controls where audit logs are stored, how big the log files can be, how many rotated logs to keep, what to do when a log is full. You usually don't need to touch this file unless you want to tweak retention or logging behavior. Let's review this file quickly. So let's execute cat auditd.conf. And for example, from this file, you can define the path to the log file, the group for the log file, which is root, the log format, which is enriched. For example, you can define the max log file equal to 8, which means rotate logs when they reach 8 megabytes. There are many options here you can modify, but as I mentioned, usually you don't need to touch this file. As I mentioned, the auditd.conf file doesn't control what gets audited. Also, by default, the logs go to var log audit, then audit.log file. To see if auditing is active, we can check that by running auditctl -s, and as you see here, enabled 1, which means that auditing is active on the system. Now let's check if there are any audit rules in place. To do so, I will use the same command auditctl then -l, and from the output we know that there are no rules configured on the system. Now let's say that I want to track access to a sensitive file in my home directory. So let's pretend that we have a sensitive file and we want to watch. First, let's create this file together. I will use the touch command, then I will create this file under vagrant home directory with the name employees.csv. I will also change the owner and the group for this file to be vagrant. So let's execute chown -r vagrant vagrant, then home vagrant employees.csv. Now let's track access to this sensitive file. To do so, I will use the auditctl command, then -w to watch the file, then the file path, which is /home vagrant employees.csv, then -p or w, which means log read and write access. Then I will add a keyword that I can use later to find logs related to this rule. So here I'm adding -k option, then my keyword, which is employees_csv. Now press enter. You can also watch an entire folder, like a website directory. So let's say that we have a web server installed here on the system, and I want to watch the HTML directory. So first, let's create the HTML directory. So I will use mkdir-p var www.html. I will also create an index file inside this HTML directory. So let's execute together echo my awesome index page, and I will redirect this to var www.html index.html. Now I want to watch the whole directory HTML. To do so, I will execute auditctl -w, then specify or provide the path to the directory you want to watch or audit. Our directory var www.html, then -p. I want to audit write to this directory. Then I will provide a key, and our key will be website_rights. So that will track any writes to files inside that folder. Now press enter. Let's check our rules we have created together. To do so, I will execute auditctl -l. And as you can see, we have two rules. The first one to audit the employees.csv file for read and write. And the second one is to audit the HTML directory for write. Audit rules set with auditctl are temporary. They disappear on reboot. To make them permanent, we need to save them in a file. So let me copy those lines here, and let me create our rule file. So let's execute vi etc audit, then rules.d, where you can put your rules files. I will name the rule file my_audit.rules, and inside the file I will paste the same rules I just copied. And if you notice, we add the rules here without the auditctl command part. Now let's save this file and let's apply our rules. To do so, I will execute au-gen rules, then --loot to apply our modification to the audit. Now press enter. Now we saved our rules, and it will be reloaded automatically on every reboot.